Yo, what it do, guys? It's your boy, your brother, your friend, once again in the building, checking in, guys. Hopefully, everyone is having a phenomenal day so far. Happy Saturday. It's kind of wet and rainy, but we're still gonna make it do. Hope anybody being outside today. But thank y'all for joining in. Today is gonna be a special show, like all shows. I feel it's gonna be pretty special because the guests that I have today, we go way back to Cadillacs and flapjacks, whatever that means. But anywho, we're gonna get into that in just a minute. So feel free to join in, comments, questions, whatever have you, because we're gonna light it up today. I'm about to bring her up to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Opinionated Scents is joining us. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, bro. How are you?
I'm getting along quite nice. What's good? What's good?
Life.
Yes.
Living it. Yes.
Life is always good. Yes, I love it. I love it. Man, so first of all, we're going to start this thing with like giving a little bit of a background or our background on how we know each other. Like I just said, we go back quite a ways.
We do.
Ferguson Middle.
7th grade.
Yes. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
It's been a long time.
Long time, right. Now, the crazy thing is, without getting into too much detail, like the thing was there was a principal incident I got in trouble for in 8th grade at Ferguson Middle. I think like you had gave me your contact number and I called, and I think it was like maybe I guess after 8 o'clock or something like that, and I ended up getting in trouble. I don't know if you remember that.
But no, I do not.
Yeah, I was like, what? I'm not sure if you said something or it's a parent call or something.
It definitely wouldn't have been me, but I could absolutely see my bio mom doing that. Yeah, sure.
I was like, what? Like, I just called and said, may I speak to Tara?
That's ridiculous. I don't think. Did you ever tell me that? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it ended up becoming like a long running joke between us, like that whole call and the whole trouble thing. But I guess it got lost in.
I'm so embarrassed that I blocked it out because I literally. I do not remember that. That is horrible. I'm sorry. That's terrible.
No, it's cool because it was we was young and crazy and everything. But man, I was like, so we go way back, like man, 7th, 8th grade, high school, post high school. Man, it does not seem like it's been like that long since 1999.
It doesn't. I swear it doesn't. Every time I think about how long. First of all, I try not to think about it often. First of all, but I still remember the lockers and the way it smelled in the hallway at McClure. Yeah, so I'm like, man. How has it been? I'm not ready.
Yeah. I hear now it's super crazy as in high school life. Period.
Yes. Yes, it is. Which crazy. Is a shame, but such is the world. I think it's the same everywhere.
Exactly. So I want to jump into scents, like what Opinionated Scents, like where did all this spawn from? Like what made you jump into that?
I've always loved fragrance. The smell of real flowers, the smell of spices that my grandmother used to use cooking. Like I just like fragrance in general. Mm-hmm. And then I can't remember who somebody in my family was selling like Mary Kay or Avon. Mm-hmm. And so they would gift me stuff. And I remember, I think the first love of mine was Sweet Honesty. And then it was Far Away is it Far Away or Far and Away? Something like that. And it just went from there,
Nice. So like, but when it came time to like, you say, you know what, I think I'm gonna go ahead and launch this and jump into talking about fragrances and schooling people on fragrances. Like how did that part come in? Like
my subscribers and the people that were in the Fragcom community. I used to be in everybody's chats. If you had a channel and you were talking about fragrance, I used to be like, well, I have that because this collection was already a thing. It's bigger. It's actually smaller now. I used to have 1,251 fragrances.
Library.
I used to have 1,251 fragrances. I am now down to 288 because during COVID, it became a problem. Like it just became we can't leave, we can't go anywhere. Right. I'm just going to buy everything. And it was a lot of people who did the same thing. We were all in the same boat. Right. So I have reeled myself in, but in the comment section of other people's videos, other people were like, you should have a channel. You describe it better than her. Or I would love to follow you if you had a channel. So it took about a year. And then I went out there and I did it, and they supported me, and it's nice. It was already a hobby, so why not share it with other people? Right. I was going to be doing it anyway.
Right. And so when you started, like, since you've been, it's like a hobby, and since you know fragrances, have you like properly schooled yourself with like, like you become like the connoisseur of fragrance, basically. Like you're like, ooh,
I have.
that's a
Yes,
little,
I love to go to the botanical gardens. There's a section out there where they literally have a lot of the real plants that you can go and smell for all the notes that I like in fragrance, and essential oils, which are different. They're not going to smell like the authentic thing. But yes, I love to go anywhere that's going to allow me to experience fragrance in a different way and more authentically.
Oh man, did you have any background, like, when you go to Macy's and you got the cologne counter, the perfume counter, and you do they do it justice with
They
like
do not. Let me be clear. They do not. I love going in there and they're like, oh, let me tell you about this. And it smells like this. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Have you, no, it doesn't. And then I end up schooling them. And they're like, you would have a great, time working here. It probably would be a great job, but I doubt that you guys would pay me enough. But yeah, but I don't think so. I think in Ulta and Sephora, they're reading the notes that they know are in the fragrance, and they describe it that way without actually really being into it themselves for the most part.
Right.
I haven't come across anybody who was good at being accurate to what I smell, but fragrance is subjective. Yeah. So maybe they really do pick up that stuff. I don't know.
Because I guess I thought, like, when you come to Macy's and any place like Ulta, that they would have people go through some level of, I guess, schooling, for lack of a better word, of like the fragrance. Because if you're gonna sell it, know your stuff.
But how many people are like me? There aren't going to be a many opinionated scents who are fragrance influencers walking into the store asking them questions. Mm-hmm. So if you have a good spiel, but if I didn't know, they would sell everything to me. I love their attitude, they're peppy, they come, but it's just not accurate for how I experience the fragrance. But a normal person would fall for it. It would be easy.
Because whenever I go, the presentation, like you said, they look the part. They're all poised, and they sound like they know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. At least enough to try to persuade the buyer to purchase.
I mean, if you just want to smell good, then that's all you're going for. Okay. It's when they get to telling me, oh, this is a prominent sandalwood fragrance. Ma'am, all I smell is cherry. What we do? So for me, that's the part. But I try to just give them grace. I let them give me the spiel, and then I go, thank you for that. I already own it. Because most times, if it's good, I do have it.
Gotcha. So, like, have you had, like, since building your community and your followers on YouTube, like, have you had people who like watch your videos and like, I don't have that. Let me go out and get that. And they go out and get it. They come back and give you feedback as to how
they do. It's always. I pride myself on being as honest and thorough as I can. I test fragrances. I wear them on skin and on clothes, even though in my real life, I only spray clothes. I don't spray my skin with fragrance, just a personal preference. Okay. And so, but I do it all for them so I can give them exactly what I'm experiencing, because I don't know your pocketbook. You go out here and you saved up for 6 months for this fragrance that I told you was good because I'm lying and I just want to represent the company. Right. Then I've made you waste your money. That means something to me. My reputation means something to me. Right. So I'm going to give you my experience. And based on other reviews I've done, if you and I agree, if you've watched 10 of my videos and we agree on 8 of them, then you can kind of sort of trust my experience and what I'm giving to you as, how I perceive this fragrance. Mm-hmm. And I feel safe in that because I know I'm not coming to you incorrectly just to represent a company, to do a collab with them or any of that other weak stuff. That's just not what you're going to get in my space.
Now, on your channel, have you had like companies or anybody reach out to say, hey, you know what, let's represent us basically, or
yes.
let us, really, okay.
Mm-hmm. So I receive free fragrances, and I always let my subscribers know that the Terror Squad, #Terror Squad, I let them know that this was sent to me for free, but you're still about to get my full take on it. And I let the companies know too, if you want me to say a certain thing, then I'm not your person. You can send it to me for free, but if I don't like it, I'm still going to say that. If your projection is terrible, if your longevity is terrible, you have to let me be honest, or you can't collab with me. And they're all just like, do it. We stand by our like commodity and dossier. A lot of these companies say we trust you because we know we put work into it. So whatever you want to say, feel free.
That's what's up. So have there been like have you greenlit many companies or fragrances to
Oh
represent?
yeah. Usually I think somebody's watching my videos for real because they don't come to me with stuff that I normally wouldn't like. Now Dossier will send me like 6 free things when they send it, and they'll go, we know some of this is masculine or some of this is this. They just want me to describe it. Because see, what I notice with my subscribers, I have people who come in my comments and say, look, you and I don't agree on anything. But the way you describe the fragrance is so accurate that even when it's something you don't like, I know I'm going to like it. Okay. So they come and listen to me for the description, not to agree with me. And I love that.
So have you had someone like go back and like kind of back and forth with like what they like and why they feel like, oh, your opinion is kind of, that kind of, but respectfully so.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they dislike my opinion. They just say, like, I'll tell you the biggest thing in FragCom right now is feminine versus masculine. Mm-hmm. Everybody's on this movement to say everything is unisex, but it isn't. So I need us to move back and say feminine and masculine are descriptive words. I am not saying girl and boy, man and woman. Mm-hmm. If you are a woman and you like colognes and you love masculine, traditionally what we call masculine fragrances, when I call it masculine, your ears are going to perk up and you're going to go, ooh, she's talking to me right now. If you're a man and you could be a heterosexual man, but you like to smell like candy and roses, that's fine. When I say feminine, you're going to know I'm talking to you. I just want to use every word I can to help, especially, just think about during COVID, the stores were closed. Right. And if they were open, you couldn't go in there and smell anything. So as long as I am as thorough and descriptive as possible, you can maybe trust a blind buy based off of what I'm telling you. So I just think that's the biggest thing right now. People need to understand that we like what we like, and it's okay to have preferences. I'm going to continue to describe things as masculine, feminine, and when they're truly unisex as such. But I think that's the only thing that I've ever had somebody have a gripe about for real. Even if they say, well, it lasts 6 hours on me, and I said it lasts for 2. My response is fragrance is subjective, and we all experience it differently. Okay. That's fine. I'm glad you love it. I don't.
Now, when it comes to fragrance, like, does it? Because I saw you said earlier that like you don't put fragrance on your skin, just your clothes. Like, I understand that's a personal preference with many people, but what are the pros and cons of both? Like just putting on your clothes versus just putting it on your skin. Like, what are there any pros and cons to them? Does it
I think so. Sure. It was actually a perfumer at a store. I was in like West Virginia, or not West Virginia, Virginia Beach. Mm-hmm. And the woman was like, fragrance is like poison, is what she said. And I was like, now come on, child, what we doing? What she meant was there are some toxic things in it, just like in certain shampoos. Like we're starting to learn about sulfates and phthalates and parabens and things that we don't really want in our skincare, hair care, or in our fragrance. Mm-hmm. So I'm moving more towards clean beauty as much as I can. So when it comes to fragrances, they might have things in it that could be carcinogenic or just not good. People break out, rashes, it, reactivates eczema and things like that. I'm just like, well, maybe it's not worth it for me. And this is, do your own research, Google it. I'm not comfortable spraying it on my skin every day, 20, 30 sprays all over the place. I see bald men spraying their heads and I cringe because we don't actually know. They don't always put all the ingredients in there. That's why you can smell a fragrance and you pick up a beautiful lemon note, but it's nowhere there. You know it's in there. They just didn't put it there. I think the reason they hide some things is to keep people from really being able to completely dupe it. All these inspiration houses popping up are still in the formula. But a lot of times, unless they're really, really good at it, they can't get every note because you're not listing them. But for me, that's a con. You don't know fully what people are putting in it, and you could have an allergic reaction or anything. The other the con to me is you don't know how your body chemistry is going to react. If you have really oily skin or you sweat a lot, then it's going to fall off of your skin. It's going to go away quickly on you. Whereas if you do it on your clothes, hopefully you're not sweating through all of everything that you're wearing, and it just lasts longer on your clothes because it's cloth. It's holding on to the fragrance. It's not leaving with your oily skin or with your sweat. So I just think it lasts longer when you do clothes and project more.
I was one who, bald head. I put a few pumps in the air and just kind of walk through.
The spray and walk into is hilarious to me. Either you want to smell like it or you don't. Now, come on.
But it was just for the head. I would pump it in the air and walk through it. but I'll still like hit the little spots or whatever have you.
Yeah. And you can for everyone. I think you do what you're comfortable with. Right. I know those pulse points, like your wrist, the bend of your arm, behind your knee, as your body heats up, it definitely does, project as long as it lasts.
Okay. Because at first, when I first started wearing cologne, I was.
Yep. You were. And we could tell that you had been down the hallway hours after you had been down the hallway. So yes, I'm aware.
Right. Because my thing was the first scent. And I joked with you several weeks back when you made a post about it. My first scent that I was like rocking with was Old School Brute, the essence of man as it was marketed.
Yeah, okay.
the green and black bottle. I was like, let me put all this.
Taking straight baths in it. Oh
yes.
Oh,
because my dad at the time, he was like he was a brute man, like back in the day. This was.
That's understandable because of his age group, but there's no way you should have been into that.
It was my first scent. So I'm like, I want to smell like my dad. I'm like, let's go. And so then we graduated. I graduated to Curve.
Woo!
Everybody know Curve. Everybody was at Walgreens.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was at Walgreens around the holidays, grab some of that Curve.
Yep.
Take the little pin off the bottle and so
Curve, Cool Water, and Youp. Those ran the 90s, and I still love those to this day. I love them.
I will still rock a good. Cause a few weeks, about a month ago, I got a little trial bottle of Curve just to have a throwback.
For nostalgic reasons, yeah.
Yeah, and it was still now. Mm-hmm. I thought about for nostalgic reasons, just around the holiday, just grab a little trial thing of Brute, just wear around the house.
Oh, okay.
Hear me out though. Hear me out. Because for me, it was like. How like scents triggers memories too. Scent
memory, absolutely.
Yeah. And so my thing is because I get emotional around the holiday because my dad's birthday was 4 days after mine, December 14th. And so I'll like get some Brute just to like, man, kind of feel that closeness. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, I'll allow that. That's acceptable.
Now I ain't gonna go out the house with the Brute boy.
Ooh, child, it's just something else. I just don't know that and gray flannel. I just cannot do. Baby, no. No, and the original Fahrenheit. There are quite a few that may need just like. This is why I don't review men's cologne. I'm scared that there's going to be some more things I'll run into that reminds me of those, and I can't subject myself to that. I'm sorry, I can't.
And so with that, what makes a good scent? Like. Both for both sides, if you can speak on for men and for women, what makes a good scent?
I think I like originality. I think we have the market is flooded and oversaturated with stuff that just smells alike all the time. So I think if you take time and care and you think about something and you want to make something new and be consistent with, thinking outside of the box. For me, a great scent is something that smells good. And again, fragrance is subjective. So I'm going to go for the notes that I like. For me, I like feminine fragrances. I like fruity fragrances, very light on the florals. I also love gourmands for when it's cooler. It has to last. The longevity has to be there. I want you to give me a scent bubble. I want you to give me sillage. I want people to know that I was in the elevator long after I've been in the elevator. I want you to know that I'm in the building. You can just look up and go, yep, Sarah Michelle's here. Absolutely. That's what I want. And I just want it to last. I don't want to have to reapply every 2 hours. I have some that smell so good that I don't mind if I have to re-up every 4 hours. But I would prefer
Gotcha.
Do not cost $500. We don't have to do that.
Yeah. Now it's funny because I was looking at a bottle of Tom Ford. And I was like, ooh, this mother is nice. But I'm like, the price point though.
And people are like, oh, because that's his private label, it's niche. No, it's still designer. Stop playing.
Oh wow.
We're gonna keep calm. So let me go into do not disturb really quickly.
Good.
But yeah, so no, it's still designer and niche is this. Look, if you make purses and clothes and shoes, you are designer. I don't care what black label you create and start charging $600 for the bottle. You're still designer. Niche, artisanal perfumery this is somebody who only does perfume. That's what you do. You don't have a billion-dollar corporation behind you. It's just for them.
So when you have like people like the Britney Spears, the J-Lo's dropping lines, I think would that be considered more like designer
celebrity? It's definitely it's celebrity fragrances. That's it.
Okay. So
that's what we think about. We think about celebrity being like, I don't want to say but like seriously, a lot of them are not involved in anything to do with it, and they're creating it for the masses just to make money. This isn't a passion. So when you see them get more involved, you see something like Rihanna, where she goes from doing her little $20, $25 ones to now with 60, 80, 120 or whatever with the Fenty line. She probably is more involved with actually creating the scent of that one than she ever was with her original ones. Beyonce, when she drops this new one, will be the same way. I'm not interested because the notes are all the same. Again, it's just oversaturated with a bunch of the same stuff. It's just a different name behind it.
Okay, so when you kind of pretty much, that's like when the celebrities do it, it's more of a money grab.
Absolutely. Unless they drop out and go to school to learn perfumery, absolutely, that's what it is. You're going to monopolize or capitalize off of your brand. You want to get into it. Shoes. Look at J-Lo. What does J-Lo not have?
Right.
Skincare line, body care line, fragrance line, music, movies. She probably has a clothing line too.
Yeah, probably.
So you got to make the money off of yourself while you got it, because especially when you're a woman in Hollywood, you unfortunately have a shorter, lifespan or shelf life than men do. So get it while you're hot.
Gotcha. So with that, because I've seen only like one. I know you say you don't really like to do videos on men's fragrances. I would like to see more, but I'm like, because I saw that one. I was like, okay, nice, because it was giving me some hints and some clues on like what to look out for, what to get, because I'm kind of.
It all smells the same, Sean. I go to the store sometimes. I'm like, I'm just not moved. Like I have a friend who has like Harmony perfumes. I like his stuff because it's so unique. None of his fragrances smell like anything I've ever smelled before, but I can't just keep reviewing Harmony all the time. He's not creating fragrances fast enough. But when I think about YSL and Givenchy, and look at when they find a hit, Dior Sauvage is a masterful hit. Creed's Adventus, masterful hit. Okay, what else you got? Why is it that every other release or every other flanker smells exactly alike? And it's just a money grab. I'm bored.
Oh, okay. So there's more variety.
There's more variety in women's fragrances, but it's starting to be the same too. I saw a post by a man today, I think his name was Esteban, and he said, I wear feminine fragrances or, quote unquote feminine fragrances and perfume because there's more of a variety in women's fragrance than there is in men. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we got to change that. You shouldn't feel the need to come over into the perfume world unless you want to. But he just said he only did it because he was bored over there. Come on, let's give some originality and some uniqueness. Let's revive it and stop copying each other.
True that. So when you're thinking about scent, because the seasons are changing now, and for men, for me at least, and correct me if I'm wrong, school me, school us, everyone watch, like, because I'm thinking, for me, like the fall and winter scents, I like more of a potent, strong scent versus like spring and summer. I'm like more of a light, not sugary, but you kind of have the same what I'm saying, like more of a lighter fragrance, not so in your face.
Absolutely.
I save those fragrances for like fall. So like school me and help you understand like how that works or what the sense and logic behind it is.
I think fragrance is subjective. I'm going to always fall back to that because I too am a seasonal wearer. I want clean, fresh citrus, light florals when it's warm outside. But when it comes to fall, that's when I want the heavy vanillas. I want the gourmand, that's sweet. I want the patchouli and the vetiver and the myrrh, those spices. Because I want to be warm and cozy, and that's what they are. They evoke a feeling in me of being warm and cozy and sensual. Because I want to be sitting at home, booed up in front of the fireplace, or watching a movie or whatever, and I want to smell warm and inviting and sensual. So that's what I like in the fall and winter.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm so funny with it. Like sometimes I'll get like a not so expensive like light scent. Mm-hmm. To like wear like post shower before bed. I like to put on cologne before I go to sleep sometimes. Getting more regular with it, but it's not like.
See, I don't do that. Mm-hmm. I think the one time I want to give my nose a break is when I go to sleep. It's like, woman, you just got me working all day. Can I live? Like you clock out eventually of work. Can I live? So I don't put on anything, unscented lotion and everything. And I just go to bed and relax and chill.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, like even post shower, just like something light, just 2 pumps, cool, or like
I
looks
love it,
walking in.
especially if especially if it's relaxing for you. Like if it's like some lavender or vanilla or something that calms you, go for it.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, so when it comes to like the good scents though, like again, I know it's a personal preference, but because my thing is when things is on your skin, it definitely lasts. It seems like it lasts a little longer, but even when it can be on your skin, it can last a little longer too. So I like to kind of re-up sometimes if I feel it don't last long. So so how, even though going back to it's your personal preference, like can you elaborate a little bit more on like having it in your clothes? Because if it can mess up your skin sometimes, possibly it could, mess up some
I mean,
fat.
if you're severely allergic, you just probably shouldn't be in the game at all. But
Yeah.
to me, directly spraying on your skin, like again, if you don't know what's in it, it's just a thing for me. I say go for what you know, but mine lasts on my clothes much longer than my skin. Like I said, if you sweat or if you're washing your hands consistently, like you put it on your wrist and you really washing your hands, eventually, you know what I'm saying, you're washing it off down to the wrist. So I just like to make sure it's always there. My clothes are always on me.
Right.
I remember I went to someone's house recently and he was talking to me the next day. We had all went over there as friends in another podcast community. And he was like, does your butt always smell that good? Being funny. But it was because my dress was sprayed with it. So when I sat down and I got up, it still stayed on, you know what I'm saying? So to me, and I'm also a heavy sprayer, let's be clear. I'm going to iron the clothes. I'm ironing the clothes. I'm throwing about 30 sprays on the front and back. Like, I don't count. But I do go up the pants leg, down the pants leg, and flip it over and do the same thing. I do the front of the shirt and flip it over. I hang it up, and then I go and do my shower, my face routine, and all of that. So the clothes are dry by the time I put them on. And of course, you have on your undergarment, so it's not really like I wear a cami under everything, so it's not really touching my skin. But I smell like it all day. That's why I project. That's why there's a scent trail behind me, because I'm not spraying my skin. Some people have skin that eats fragrance. People will say this lasts 30 seconds on me. And I'm like, I don't know what kind of skin eating DNA you got going on, but you might need to add cloves to your spraying. Be sure about the oil content. You don't want to be spraying silk and all of that. But I'm a jeans and t-shirt girl, flannel girl, so it's not a problem for me.
Okay. And so can you also now go into the difference between the eau de toilette and the eau de parfum?
Eau de parfum? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, it's all about oil concentration. So you're going to have lower oil content in an eau de toilette. But here's the thing. There are some EDTs, we're going to just say EDT, that are killing some of the EDPs. So it says eau de parfum, but the performance is trash compared to EDT. So some of these overlap. Some people say from 0 to 10 or 15% of oil concentration is an EDT. And then some people say it can be 10% to a 30% that's an eau de parfum. Well, if that EDT goes all the way up to that 15%, but that eau de parfum is only 10%, that's how you get that happening. Okay. So I say try them. I don't judge things. There are some extrait de parfums, some regular parfums, eau de parfums, and you get an EDT that can just crush them all. How? Okay. So I don't know if the perfumers themselves are still sticking to that logic. I think people are just doing what they want to do at this point.
Okay. Gotcha.
You're supposed to be able to trust the process, though. Start with an eau de cologne, eau de toilette, eau de parfum, extrait de parfum. And usually, I would say 90% of the time it works. But you have those special EDTs that are coming for the spotlight. They don't care what they were labeled as.
Gotcha. And that's what's up. That's why I respect your channel on YouTube. You definitely find her scents on YouTube at
Opinionated Scents.
Yes, definitely go follow that if you want to get schooled to the perfume game and everything, because and the cologne game. There's one I'll probably have to find the cologne one because it's only like one that I can remember. But it was good. It schooled me. It taught me some stuff, some foreign scents I never heard of. Mm-hmm. I found one. I was like, ooh, bring me Tom Ford prices. Like,
yeah, if you want to find variety, you're probably going to have to step out of the designer market and go a little niche, unfortunately. But those fragrances tend to be beast mode. So you're going to use less and it lasts longer. So you're not going to move through the bottle like you would a normal, you know what I'm saying, YSL or Gucci or Versace or whatever you're wearing. So it averages out. And depending on how much you care about it, if you're the only person in the room smelling like that, isn't it worth it to go a little bit up in price every now and then?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if I do like 150, if I drop 150 or more on some cologne, I'm only
I
going.
better love it.
Yes, it needs
and
to.
I recommend trying it first, sampling it, get the decant, do something before you spend that amount of money if you don't know if you like it or not.
All right, gotcha. Because like right now, my lineup that I'm moving through, some I have, some I gotta get, is the Versace Eros. I'm a fan
Love
of
it.
that. Armani Code Black.
Love it.
Blue Day Chanel. I definitely like
Classic.
that because it's like a lighter kind of fragrance. Yeah. Sauvage, of course.
Everybody.
Right. And I got the Saint Laurent, like almost any scent on the Saint Laurent line, and then of course I gotta do Jimmy Choo Man.
You know, Jimmy Choo Man, I think I've smelled so many other fragrances that smell like that, but there's something about it that I just rock with.
Yeah,
I think it's the most everyday. You can wear it at any time you want to. Jimmy Choo is just that deal, and in its simplicity, because sometimes you don't need to do too much.
No,
you know? I will say this though to any man that's watching: please stay out of my Baccarat Rouge 540. Like, let it go, y'all. That's for us. It's ours. I don't care if they say it's unisex. Back up. Because y'all bathe in it and ruin the whole. I don't even wear mine anymore because I smell it every day on every man I see. I'm done. I can't.
Oh, and so that's more of a women's fragrance or like a unisex?
Again, this is just to me. I love it, and when I wear it, it smells amazing. I smell it on other women, it smells amazing. And then you get the men who just take the bottle and pour it on their head. It's like, bruh, like really? Did you have to ruin it? So I don't know. It's weird to me, but it says it's unisex. Anybody can wear what they want, when they want, how they want, where they want. In joking though, but I'm laughing, being very serious.
Right. So now I'm gonna have to look into that just to smell it, just to get a tester.
It's nice. It's
see
nice.
how it is and whatnot. So I also like to look at it like in a nice segue. A scent, a fragrance can really attract the opposite sex in building relationships. You know, so with that, talking about switching gears, we're talking about relationships. You know, what is up with relationships these days? I don't get it.
You know what? What has been up? Just think about relationships from jump. Let's go back to like cavemen. Like, did women really have a choice? I'm pretty sure they just got thrown over his shoulder and dragged back to the cave, and it was what it was.
Right.
And then even when we go back to our granddads, almost everybody has this story of a granddad or great granddad who had another family 2 blocks over.
Okay.
And your grandmother knew he had that woman and them kids. And, you know, sometimes she would take care of them kids. It's like Joe Jackson. We found out had a whole another family or another kid or, you know, I don't know that we've ever really treated relationships the way that we should. People were really good at hiding it. That's what it was. I think you have a lot of people out here a lot of men who don't believe in monogamy. They feel like, okay, they say for every one woman, or for every one man, there's 5 women. So we need to have all 5 of them. Like, and you go to some other countries and that's what they do. They have 1 man and 20 wives or however they do it. So I think we've just gotten to a point where people feel like they don't want to be in that box that has always been there. They want to move to the beat of their own drum. And I don't think that monogamy or even marriage mean the same thing that they used to our generations and the generations before to this new generation, which scares me and makes me sad for my kids.
Right. And so going back to, because I listen to a lot of different channels and people with videos and people with platforms. And I'm like, I think some people just should not have a platform. I'm like, okay, what in the world is that?
Because what you're spewing is very detrimental, seriously, to people. Even if you really feel that way, I don't want you convincing these young kids who just are susceptible to so much the foolishness that's coming out of your mouth right now. Right.
And so going back to when you were saying like, you know, grandma and granddad, because, you know, you have a lot of people who pedestalize what our grandparents had. And for some, good reason, because they were 60, 70 years in,
Yep.
they were sold on it. And then you hear that piece that was like, oh, the Papa was a Rolling Stone paradigm. And my personal thoughts, I don't think that was with every grandparent or whatever, or every grandparent or grandfather. I think that was like a small percentage, but it was magnetized or magnified, like it was like every third or fourth, grandparent had that kind of family. I refuse to believe that. But like, so I'm like, I just don't think that like all of them was rocking like that. But when it comes to, I do agree that relationships are not viewed the same. So like in your opinion, in your viewpoint, what are we missing now that we had at one point? Because but I'm also not naive to not think that everybody's relationship, even grandma and grandpa then, was perfect. No relationship is perfect, but it's like not every relationship has that cheating aspect, or like someone was out and about, but they still had their problems, but they still stuck it out. Like, so what do you think that is missing now that our grandparents had then?
I would say the need for one another.
Yes.
And so back then, a lot of times, depending on how far we go back, women couldn't work. Mm-hmm. And, there was a one income household. The man provided and she stayed at home and took care of the kids in the house. And now you have women out here who are more educated than men and working just as much as men, if not more than men. Mm-hmm. So they have this independence in them to where they say, I don't need to be the stay-at-home mom or the wife that just, stays at home. I can go out here and get it myself. And once they get a taste of that, something changes where it's not like, first of all, you'll never hear me say I don't need a man. I love my man and I'm very appreciative of my man, and I'm not letting them go. Right. But I think that they equate their self-worth with how much money they're making, or the fact that they can work and they can do it on their own. It's not about the financial need for the man. You should want the man for the companionship, for the oneness. And 2 incomes is always better than 1, baby. Come on, let's keep it real. And households. Yeah, I think these women are out here like, I can have a baby on my own, like intentionally doing the stuff, So I think somehow we've gotten our lines crossed as to what the need should be for that other individual. Mm-hmm. And it's not financial. It should never have been financial. But if you're out here taking care of yourself as a woman and you start to feel like I can do it on my own, then marriage doesn't mean that much to you. Or you start to look at marriage like a comeuppance, like this is a partnership and a business partnership at that. Right. And that's it. So you don't love them like that. Those vows don't mean anything to you. Because the moment he's not making what he was making, or the moment he gets on your nerves and you independent and you got it, you out. Right. So I think that's the problem. I think we don't feel the need to marry for love anymore.
Right. And one of the things that kills me, because I hear that nauseum, like you just said, I don't need a man. And I think society follows pop culture. Whatever is out there, whatever is like, hey, this is the norm. Yep. We're letting media and everything therein dictate how we think and how we feel. Because I start hearing that, I'm like, why are women talking about I don't need a man? I've never heard a guy say, I don't need no woman, I don't need these females. I guess I'm starting to hear.
Yes. Because if you read the Kevin Samuels comments, you don't definitely see it.
Yeah, and I was like,
or it's more if I'll they're for procreating and that's about it. I think there's a hatred, especially in the Black community right now, amongst Black women and Black men. You see that a lot too. These podcasts where all the women are talking about how bad the men are, and all the men are talking about how bad the women are. When are we going to sit down and talk about how to fix those perceptions and the good in us? Right. Like, what do we see in each other that's good? We need to focus a little bit more on that, because I think God's greatest creation was the Black man. And this is not about comparing Black men to Black women. To me, Black men, for me, because that's all I've ever dated. That's my preference. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not even going to go there.
No Matthew McConaughey.
Listen, Matthew McConaughey, I would love to hang out with him, and he's absolutely delightful. Jason Momoa being my favorite person on the planet. Right. But I just feel like that's who I was made for. I definitely came from his rib. That's what it is for me. So it hurts me when Black women are like, yeah, We should just all stop dating Black men and we should just go into another race. They're going to treat us better. And even when you take the race part out, anytime we sit up here and we think that we're nothing more than a prize or nothing more for men to do other than when he's bored, you're gonna, that seed of resentment is gonna settle. And that's where you sprout, I'm an independent woman, I don't need a man, because we think they don't need us, across all racial lines.
Right.
I just think we have a very serious problem with man versus woman in general. People feeling like we have to be equal in all things. I don't believe that as human beings, we're all equally human. We're all a whole person.
Right.
But none of us are exactly the same. None of us can do exactly the same things. I think as far as rights and all that stuff, yes, we should have equal rights. But I'm not trying to compete with a man for anything. I'm just not. And I think that's what we have a lot of right now. A bunch of confusion, a bunch of competition, and this need to prove that we don't need one another when we absolutely do.
Yeah, I believe that God put us here for one another. That's after his order.
Absolutely.
And for us to feel like, well, I don't need you either. It's like, okay, well, in that scenario with that mindset, who wins?
We all die out. Take away the doctors that can implant babies. If there is no way to do in vitro fertilization, and we don't need each other, we're going to die out. There will be no more babies.
Right.
So we scientifically, genetically need each other. Right.
But we have we have media and societal norms that we yield our minds to, say, oh, okay, well, maybe because if you hear something long enough, you begin to adopt.
Believe it. Yeah.
And we develop our own tribes of people who share those ideologies, who share those thought paradigms. And when we okay, we gravitate to here, let me gravitate here, and I'm going to develop that mindset, then that's going to nurture and it's going to grow. And then what's crazy is then those mothers and those fathers pass that down
to their kids.
And then they develop a mindset of, I don't need a man, or women are just objects. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I see down the road, not too far down the road, that is going to be like a heavy decrease of the Black family. I mean, it's already in trouble now.
Seriously, yeah. Well, the welfare system began to break that down. Come on, that's been a thing.
And so, but I'm like, we are the ones that's suffering from the stuff that we are putting out there. But I don't see other cultures really suffering from that.
And it happens, but I don't think on the large scale that it happens with us. I agree.
Right. And so with that, I see a lot of guys, passport bros. I'm sure you've heard it. These brothers who are going away, the men who desire, family and to be whole, they go in these other countries and they're looking for wives. And so what is your take and your mindset on that? Because I see that, and I see the pushback on Black women, a lot of in these talk spaces. It further throws logs on that fire of, we don't need you anyway, bye. But it's like, well, what are your options? Because I don't see a whole lot of men of other cultures marrying women of color. And it's not, I'm not trying to say, and I'm not trying to be cruel with it, but I'm like, I don't see the statistical numbers with that on an uptick. So what are your thoughts?
There was a study that somebody did a long time ago. I don't know if it was Oxford or one of them colleges, and they said that when it comes to men, the least to marry are Asian men and American Black women. So, not African or Haitian or Jamaican, us, me, So, and there were some stereotypes and things that led to that when people were voting. And you honestly get to anonymously vote on something. You're going to be honest. I think that was a very accurate study. So Black women feel the need to go elsewhere because we don't feel wanted by our men, because we see the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons and the Patrick Mahomes and all these people that we see to be super successful not choosing us. So it all plays into it. Look, these are just two men. I mean, you do see it a lot in celebrities, Jordan Peele and Childish Gambino. It's a lot of people we can name. But there are also the LL Cool J's and the Ice Cubes and the Blair Underwoods. Like, you got to understand, if you're Lorenz Tate, you got to, it's there, but you're letting people feed this into, you feed into this like psychosis or whatever. And it's just like, stop, take a breath, think about what you want and who you want and focus on that. Maybe you can take race out of it. Some people don't have a preference with race and you're just looking for love, someone to treat you right. But you know how we were talking about how media will feed stuff into you. I remember going to visit a state that I had worked with before. This is for a job I had. And when they met me, they were like, oh, one of the guys was like, oh, you're one of them. I knew exactly what he meant. He meant that I was Black. He couldn't tell that over the phone though.
Whoa.
So he was like, you know what? It's nice to meet you. I didn't know that you guys, were, this cool, basically.
Right.
And I will never get mad at somebody who is speaking in ignorance, but I could tell there's a teachable moment there.
Right. Okay.
So when he told me that all he ever watched was like cops and the news, and every time he saw a Black person, they were being brutal to one another, brutal to their woman, shooting somebody, killing somebody, because that's all that was fed into his mind and his heart. Of course he thinks we're wild barbarians or animals or whatever. And then he had a great interaction with me, and I get to be that representation on behalf of Black people that, yes, we are human. No, we don't just sit up here and throw chairs at each other and drinks at each other and fight all day.
Right.
But look at what's out there as the perception for Black women, all the love and the hippity hops and the housewives and all of that. We're not in a good light out here. So when you find a Black man who just thinks that that's all he's going to find, of course he's going to go somewhere else and find someone. With all the rumors and stereotypes that Nigerian women and Jamaican women and all these other women are more suitable for being a wife than us, you want to go get the cream of the crop. I fully understand it. It's because they're not out here actually interacting with us. Or maybe they are. And maybe they are coming across some sexy reds and stuff like that. And they feel like that's all that's out there. See? So I think as a whole, you got to do what's, if you feel like you got to go outside of the country to go get your wife, then I want you to do whatever's going to make you happy. Black women as a whole, we need to stop supporting the terrible narratives about, stop watching these shows, stop listening to this music. I saw a post today that I think his name is Chico Bean, somebody from Wild and Out, was talking about he will never be in a relationship. And everybody was in the comments going, at least he's being honest with the women. He's telling them that they will never be the only one. He'll never settle down. He's going to have multiple. They can live their lives when he's not around. And these women were like, yeah, at least he's being honest. I'd rather have him than the dude that's going to lie to me. So now women are conforming to these ridiculous requests of men to just lay it and, spray it anywhere. And because they think that's all they're going to get. Now we're focused on the fact that at least he told me. I'm going to take the trash option because he told me, versus not dealing with the liars, not dealing with his trash option, and going to find what you really want. It's sad.
It's sad. I think there's this thing. There's unrealistic expectations on both sides. Because I recently saw a video of a young lady. She was going on a date. She was a sister. She was going on a date with a guy of a different culture, and she got ready, whatever, and they was driving, and they pulled up to a cheesecake factory.
I saw this.
And
oh man,
I'm like, so what's your take on this? Because I look at it like it's Cheesecake Factory. You're getting to know one another.
And that's not cheap. If he took you to Chili's, he could have found a lot of places where he got you a 2 for $10 or whatever it is at Chili's. And you're getting exactly. We want these men to spend all of this money just to get to find out if they can even tolerate or stand us. And we come out nothing. We get pretty and beautiful, and then we go out. He spent $200 on somebody he never wants to talk to again. It's not fair. And I feel like you can go on a free date. He could have did a picnic. Y'all could have gone on a walk in the park and had a conversation. But for you to open your mouth and say you too beautiful for a certain restaurant, ma'am, please. Like, I'm done. I'm leaving out. We're going Dutch because I'm not paying for anything for you because your attitude is deplorable. And we got to stop thinking that because we're a woman, whether it's because of a certain body part that we have or because we just think we're that fine, that we can behave this way. It's disgusting. Who wants to make you their wife when you're that superficial?
Right.
Like, what?
So here's a scenario. Let's pretend you're a guy.
Sure. I've always wanted to be a guy for a day.
Yeah, you're a light-skinned guy. You cool. You're like the Jason Momoa of. And you meet the nice young lady. She's got a lot going for herself. She has a degree, and she's cool. So, and she's like 80,000 plus in education debt. So, and she looks nice. She carries herself well. You guys go out. She says, "All right, we're gonna go to this restaurant. We're gonna go to Ruth Chris on our first date, and you're gonna foot the bill." The whole time, every now and again, she's got her little digital pimp up, and she's looking, checking here and there, and she's doing videos. Hey, oh, we here, blah, blah.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, hey, we here, Ruth Chris, that's all me, whatever have you, that whole thing. And so it's, as a guy, like, you're thinking to yourself, we haven't really engaged much throughout the evening and getting to know each other.
Yep.
Number one. And two, why do I have to spend $300 and $400 on a date, on the first date? How would you feel? And then at the end of the night, she's like, well, I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't really, we didn't really connect. How did it make you feel?
I would never. As soon as she poured out her phone, I'd have been like, we're going Dutch, right? See, I'm too honest. I've been on dates before where I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna pay for mine, because after this, I don't think that you and I are gonna talk again. Why would you say that? It's just a feeling. I don't want to accept anything from you with you having an expectation that I'm gonna owe you anything when I know I'm never dealing with you again. So for me, but if I went all the way through that, I would tell her we didn't connect because you were too busy on your phone. You didn't give me the attention. You were more concerned with showing everybody that somebody brought you to Ruth Chris. Right. So if you're looking for someone and you want to connect, try disconnecting from your social media and focusing on the person. Right. I hope you enjoyed your dinner and, lose my number, basically, or say it in a nicer way. Wow. But I am not about wasting time with people where I don't see a future. As an adult, when I started dating after I got divorced, I said, I got to date with a purpose. I'm not dating to be your girlfriend. Right. I'm not dating to be your side piece, your situationship, your any of the other foolishness that people are out here talking about. Yeah. I am dating for a future with you. And if I don't see it, I'm out. Because I don't want to waste your time or mine. I'm not getting any younger. I'll be 43 in December. So, I don't have time. And that's with anything. When you're dealing with, relationships, friendships, jobs, if you're not happy, remove yourself and go be happy.
Right. Because my thing is, if I see a lot of women who say, I ain't going to Starbucks for no first day, I ain't doing all that. I'm like, it's a place that's minus distraction, and it's not a place of status, and you should be open to that.
You're right. You're not going to go on the first date to Starbucks. You're not going to go on any other dates either, because nobody's going to want you because you have a nasty attitude. So, dodge the bullet. Let a woman tell you that so you know you don't want to date her.
Because then she's like, oh, you can't do Ruth Chris, you can't do this top tier. Oh, you must be broke. And now all of a sudden it's like it's the making the guy feel bad because he won't do this extravagant date. So it makes me feel some kind of way about my kids growing up. And I know you have kids growing up. It's like, what is the relationship paradigm going to be looking like?
Yes, I say it all the time, especially for my youngest. I don't play about Ruth. These little girls do not want it with that.
Because I'm like,
we're not doing that.
So imagine, I'm thinking to myself, my son Sheldon or my son Shane, or even Ruth comes up and say, hey, Mom, I'm dating this young lady. She want me to, let's say he's 21, just graduating college and all that stuff. He's fresh out here, and he's in an entry level job. He's making $50K, starting out at the gate. And now he's like, yeah, but she don't even want to go sit down and stuff. She don't want to do a picnic and nothing, Mom. She want to do this big extravagant stuff. What advice would Mom give?
Leave her alone. Give me her phone number. She won't call you no more. That's how this gonna work. Listen, I definitely talked to him about somebody like this. Somebody who's that superficial or materialistic. If you want to go to Ruth Chris, take me. I'll tell my son that. She want to go so bad, tell her to take you. You guys can go Dutch or she can pay. You do not get to dictate where a man. What happened to courting? What happens? First of all, the men are the ones that have to approach us, right? That's what we want. We want the men to court us and come to us. So then he should be in charge of all of it. Yeah, but if you want him to approach you and ask you out, then he gets to pick where he's taking you because it's his money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how dare you throw all these demands up for someone you haven't even proved yourself worthy of yet?
True.
It's too much for me.
But now you have young ladies saying, don't approach me. Don't. And it's like, well, then they get mad when you don't approach them.
Listen, let them be confused. I swear, let these people show you who they are and keep it moving. Do not even, and then for a girl to demand Ruth Chris and then tell you if you don't do it, you broke, that shouldn't even bother you. You know what? You should have the biggest smile on your face and be like, whoo, dodge the bullet with that one.
Right.
Who cares what this broke girl thinks about you? You move on to the next. Fellas, let it go. She's not worth it. I don't care whatever it is you're looking at on her body that you really, really are interested in. I don't care. Let that headache go before it becomes one.
Because my philosophy, I told myself growing up after a while, and I'm gonna tell my sons, like, look, there's no batting eyes or pair of thighs worth, forfeit. Number one is not worth forfeiting heaven. Two is not worth wasting your time.
Yes.
You want to build with somebody who's going to be with you if let's say there's an economic downfall and you lose your position on your job and you gotta slum it for a month or two or whatever have you. You don't want somebody who's going to only be with you because you're up here.
Mm-hmm.
Because life happens.
Yep.
Life happens.
Speak.
And for my daughter too, don't be letting some pretty Ricky, don't let some D'Angelo, how does it feel type of brother.
Oh my goodness.
You don't want these Negroes who be coming here talking slick and saying some cute stuff just to get you all head in the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
No, I gotta teach her. You gotta be logical with your decision of who you allow in your space.
And you have to date her. As a father, you have to take her out and show her how she's supposed to be treated, so she'll never expect or accept anything less.
Exactly.
Like, when we travel,
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing, for my daughter's fathers is he said, I want the girls to know what it's like to see the world. So that when they get older and the dude calls and he says, I'm gonna take you to the Motel 6, they're like, why I've stayed in 10 diamond resorts. You understand what I'm saying? We out of the stars now. We're staying in diamond resorts.
Right.
You can't sway my daughter with a Motel 6 room. Are you kidding me? So every aspect of her life, her father is to show her exactly how she should be treated so she never accepts less. Exactly. And I think that's something that's very important for us too, because a lot of us come from single parent households and we don't have a manual or an example to say, oh, this is what love looks like. Right. Oh, this is how a man's supposed to talk to me or treat me. You have a lot of girls who saw their mothers getting whooped on and they think a man don't love me if he's not upside my head. So we really have to, those of us who are stable and sane, have to do a really great job at preparing our kids for what they're going to be up against.
Right. And because I've seen some footage of something was going on in high school here locally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they getting it in and like
in the middle of the classroom, teachers sleep, and just it's foolishness. Do you know how glad I am that we did not have cell phones and social media when we were in school? Even though I wasn't doing any of that type of stuff in school, I knew people who were. Could you imagine?
It's crazy.
We live in a different world that I could never have survived in. I couldn't have taken the 10-year-old me and put her here. This would be too much for me. I don't like the space for kids here. I don't like the space for adults here.
No.
But
because you would think that people, the elder statesmen, those of us who are older and mature, would be schooling the younger ones, but nowadays we aren't. And then those of us who have a mind to, we get scolded for trying to correct.
Nobody wants you to say anything to their kids, to discipline their kids. And the whole street will watch you. Every elderly person, you couldn't do anything. And we didn't have all these school shootings and crazy stuff going on then. Now you have all these people who you better not say nothing to my child. Your child's playing in the middle of the street while you in the house arguing with your baby. You want me to just let him get hit? Like, I don't understand this, but everybody's so individualistic and we're falling apart as a people. So there are no more OGs. There used to be OGs who would teach you what to do and what not to do. Now you can't talk to these kids. They don't respect you. If you're 35, you're ancient to them. And then you're becoming grandmothers at 27 You have no wisdom to impart to anyone. You're still in the clubs.
Right.
So what are we doing?
We're not doing justice. Not doing justice
to ourselves, our kids, or our grandkids. And I don't even know how to fix that for real. You would have to have a complete overhaul of what we're seeing. You got Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion allowed to do anything on TV.
Right.
Anybody's allowed to. The music that there used to be parental advisory. Now you can literally get free access on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere to all of it, no matter what your age is. It's just a free-for-all. Nothing ever shuts off. Remember when TV used to go off?
Yeah, nothing.
And we just unplugged from it all. We don't have that. It's 24/7 nonsense, chaos, and over-sexualization. And these kids are supposed to thrive and become better human beings in that atmosphere.
You can't, because like I said, like you just said, you got, and that's a whole other conversation for probably another day. But you got, Tia Mowry graduating from her marriage. You got Will and Jada saga, never-ending mess. It's like, where?
Please, nobody buy her book. Please do not buy Jada's book. At this point, we should all file assault charges against this woman. I think she has assaulted us over and over again, and we need to protect ourselves. I want a restraining order against this woman.
Exactly. Because my thing is, it's a bunch of mess. So, wrap up thoughts. Since when you're in a relationship, it's a strong relationship. How do you like your guy to be on a constant smell good? Does he need to have a plethora, a library of scents like you have?
No, we're not doing this. He's not doing that. But I think 20 is a good number. You give me 5 for each season.
Okay.
And I tend to take care of that. I don't think I've never dated a guy or been with a guy who's been into scents like me until he's with me. And I do like him to smell good. And he needs to know to never touch anything that's mine. I don't do the guys who wear perfume. If you want to smell like candy and cotton candy and like me, we can be friends. But that's not the turn on. It's not attractive to me. I want you to smell traditional like a man. You can smell like juniper berries and cypress and wood and Paul Bunyan and anything else. But you stay out of my Delina and my Baccarat Rouge. Okay? Thank you.
So what about smelling like all natural?
No, he gonna wear I don't do that. We're not doing it. You're gonna wear deodorant. And even if he doesn't like fragrance, if he just wants to smell like him, it's gonna be a clean him. We'll do deodorant. Stop playing.
So let the people know before we go, where can they find you on IG? Where can they find you on YouTube and look at some of your content when it comes to fragrance?
You can find me at Opinionated Scents on YouTube and Opinionated_Scents on Instagram. And anytime my bro has me back here, you can find me here.
Cool, and we will definitely have you back because we don't get deep into the relationship. Because I got a lot of thoughts on the whole Tia graduating from her marriage and all the whole Will Smith stuff and all this mess. So follow my homegirl, my sister on Instagram and YouTube and watch some of the content. You will learn, you will get schooled in the scent game. I'm not just saying this because I know you. I watched some of the content, especially with the men's cologne, and even watch some of the ones for the women. I'm like, I got school, so I can learn some stuff.
I can help you buy anniversary gifts.
Exactly. See that? Because she in with some of these fragrance companies, so for sure get that percentage off and everything. So sign off, guys. Appreciate you, Lady T, my sister, coming on, talking to us about scents and relationships. And you already know. Until next time, deuces.